Happy book launch! It's live, it's in the world. And to celebrate, I've partnered with a couple actual musicians to help me bring some of the songs mentioned in the book to life, which is it's very surreal to just kind of have this idea of a song and then to put it in the capable hands of a musician. And then lo and behold, now there is music. So my plan is to release something on 8/8 today, 9/9, 10/10, 11/11, and maybe 12/12. I don't know. We'll see how many people I can continue to find who are willing to pursue this whimsy with me. Um, anyway, today I thought I would just read a couple short sections from the book. Um, and I'd also mention a couple live events that are coming up that I keep alluding to. One is going to be on September 30th in Mankato, and the other is either 11/11 or 11/12 in Saline. So if you want a copy of the book, you can buy it online on the link below, or see me at one of the live events. I'll be selling them there as well, and signing and reading and whatever you'd like. Answer questions that you have. After the short intro chapters in the book that I read one of the other day, which are from Conrad, the music producer and owner of Treetown Records, the story shifts to Louie, who's the trombone player. And I have a couple short sections from him that I thought I would read. In 1990, all I wanted to do was disappear. I was 20 and working 3 jobs to pay for classes. College was a natural continuation of high school, and as far as I knew, it was all people did after they graduated. No one sat me down to talk about career paths or majors. It was just assumed that I knew what I was doing, and if I didn't, then I'd figure it out along the way. I had taken one of those tests in high school to help determine future careers, but the results were not exactly helpful. According to the test, I should consider being a bank teller, or a chef, or working in carpentry, engineering, music, pharmacology, or zoology. I love animals, and maybe zoology would have made for an interesting career, and I used to spend hours upon hours with my Legos building cities and vehicles, so maybe I would have found engineering rewarding, but as far as being a chef, I was definitely ill prepared. I didn't know anything about cooking, and music? That suggestion was easily the most laughable to me. In 7th grade, I convinced my parents to buy me a trombone, and for that entire year I practiced diligently and enjoyed playing it. But when 8th grade rolled around, that expensive piece of brass was forgotten in the back of my closet. Once in a while, I'd notice it back there and think about dragging it back out, but then something else would catch my attention and I'd do that instead. But I truly did love music. Whenever I heard the specials on the U of M college radio station, I'd think, God, I love how that sounds. The reggae and ska songs from the 70s and 80s always caught my attention. The late 80s were all about gangsta rap, grunge, and the underground music, whether it be Sonic Youth or Ministry or My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. I didn't hide my love for a broad taste in music, but I also didn't exactly advertise it either. Still, if you had a Wax Trax t-shirt or an import of the Happy Mondays, that was the currency of cool. Those who knew the bands would give you the nod in the hallway, and those who didn't also nod, thinking that they should know. If you really wanted to fuck with people, you could create your own t-shirt, slap on an interesting design with some name or phrase on it, and watch people nod in coolness at your coolness. Despite the coolness of embracing the obscure bands of our time, I never felt comfortable admitting my love of the specials, or the beat, or the madness, or any of the second wave ska bands, or two-tone, or whatever you wanted to call them. That all changed when I started working at Toys R Us and met Ruby, Harry, Denis, and Rudy. We bonded immediately over our shared interest in this genre of music and swapped mixtapes with our favorite tracks. And so that's kind of the intro to them working at retail. And there are several other retail stories in there as well. This then is one of those stories. So what happens is Denis and Louie are waiting outside Toys R Us for the manager to show up. The manager's name is Lauren, and the scene starts before this, but I'm just going to kind of cut to the part where Lauren shows up. Hey guys, Lauren said. Sorry to be late. He was flustered, and his hands were full of books and random papers that he struggled to keep balanced as he unlocked and opened the door. I wondered what the papers were, because I couldn't imagine running this store required any kind of paperwork. Maybe he was filing for a mortgage or taking classes again? We followed him inside, and Denis immediately went to the back of the store. I took my time and walked to the break room, put my coat and lunch in a locker, and finally headed to my booth. I walked purposefully toward the booth, keeping my head down to avoid eye contact with anyone, and mostly to avoid engaging with customers on the floor. This time it didn't work. An older man and a younger man interrupted me. Legos? The younger man asked me. I pointed vaguely to the far end of the store. Typically, this move was to send the customer as far away from me as I could, so I could retreat to the isolation of my booth. However, with only Denis, Lauren, and me in the store at the moment, it would likely backfire. So instead, I added, the side wall there, you can see the colorful boxes from here. The younger man smiled at me, took the older man's arm, and they walked to the far side of the store while I continued onto my post. Several minutes later, I headed back over to the break room to use the bathroom. I was lost in my thoughts when the younger man startled me. Have you seen him? The man asked. He looked nervously from side to side and up and down the aisles. I shook my head and shrugged. The younger man ran off toward the back of the store, and I followed his trajectory toward the bathroom when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It took me a second to fully comprehend what I thought I was seeing. It looked like an old man taking a shit in the aisle. And in fact, it was an old man taking a shit in the aisle. His pants were around his ankles, and he was squatting over a pile of human feces. Given the choice between hiding in the bathroom and the booth up front, I decided my bathroom use could wait, and I headed back to the front of the store. Safely inside my booth, I weighed my options. What to do? What to do? There were only a few ways out of this. There was no way that Lauren was going to clean up the floor. Managers don't do that kind of thing. I couldn't remember if anyone else was scheduled until later. So this left Denis or me. I started laughing to myself, collected my thoughts, and picked up the phone. As stupid as it sounds, I even covered my mouth with my shirt in hopes to disguise my voice. Denis, to aisle 2B, I said into the phone, broadcasting it through the store. With a mop? Denis, aisle 2B, with a mop? The clanking of the phone was amplified through the speakers as I tried to rest the phone into its cradle. And then I became very, very interested in the inventory that I typically ignored inside the booth. 30 minutes later, the bell to the booth rang. I put down the inventory checklist and opened the window. You jackass, said Denis. The comment caught me completely off guard. What? Jackass is the worst, said Denis, and you, sir, are a jackass. I don't know what you mean, I replied innocently. I've been called a lot of things, but jackass is absolutely the worst, continued Denis, ignoring my feigned protest. You know, dick, asshole, but jackass? He shook his head. It's the worst. I mean, an asshole is pretty disgusting, I said. A jackass is just an animal. Stubborn animal, but an animal nonetheless. An asshole is a pretty disgusting name to be called when I really think about it, but it doesn't really offend me when someone calls me it, because I don't think about it a lot. But now that you mention it, I'd rather not be called an asshole. With little bits of poo from not wiping well, said Denis. Ew. I wipe thoroughly, I said. But really, I don't know that I follow. Why am I a jackass? I don't know why. Why are you such a jackass? That's probably one of those things you should be asking yourself, Denis said before adding, or your mama. Okay. I kept up the facade of being confused. Did you have anything for me to stash for you guys? Denis rolled his eyes. Seriously? You want to talk business? After you sent me to clean up an old man's number 2 and aisle 2? 2B, I corrected and started laughing. I'm sorry, man, but it was either you or me. Well, that's why you're a jackass. Well, at least one reason, said Denis. That was cold. Never seen anything like that in the store before. I made Lauren come down and check it out. Denis started laughing. And really, dude, disguising your voice with 3 of us in the store? Seriously? I laughed again. Couldn't help it. Fortunately, Denis was now laughing right along with me. Any damn way, said Denis. With that business out of the way, you acknowledge that you're a jackass, right? I am. Totally a jackass. Sorry, I do in fact acknowledge that. Right. So we're good. Denis paused for a moment to collect his words. You may be a jackass, but you're all right. Here's the thing. Denis leaned closer to the window, conspiratorially. This conversation could have gone any number of ways, and I wasn't sure what to expect. The guys, Ruby and me, are going to sublet a house. The more the merrier, and the cheaper the rent. And that's then how they end up in the house where they form the band, and the rest of the novel kind of takes off from there. So anyway, more to come, but I just wanted to share a little bit and celebrate today. Thanks so much for watching and listening and reading and all that good stuff, and hope to see you at one of the live events. Have a good one.